Hey y'all! Alright, so a little disclaimer before we start the video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about, we're going to call it tree. If you know what tree is, then you know what tree is. If you have an issue with tree, click off the video. If you're too young to be talking about tree, click off the video. If you have no idea what tree is, click off the video. Okay, that's the only disclaimer I'm going to give. The end. Alright, so this week, it's only Wednesday, by the way, I have failed two of God's tests in one day. Well, kind of 2 days. And it's not funny because I'm so frustrated about it, but whatever. So on my journey to being a godly woman, you're going to be tested. Well, you're going to be tested as a Christian regardless, but I feel like being that I'm newly fully focused on God, my tests mean the most to me. Maybe a seasoned Christian is not as worried, but I don't know your life. If you're still worried about it, then I'm so glad that you are. If you're not, then maybe you should be. I'm stressed. I mean, I'm not stressed, but I'm stressed. Alright, so there's two tests that I failed. We're going to start with the first one because the first one's the juiciest. So, I used to smoke tree a lot. And when I say a lot, like every day. It started because, well, it was on and off. So, I started probably when I was like 18. I did it or smoked it for like maybe all of 2 years. And I didn't smoke so consistently back then. And then when I was about 28, no, not 28, like 26 or 27, I picked it back up again because I was in a really bad place in life and I wasn't sleeping well and I was stressed out, and my ex smoked, so we would just smoke together. At some point, God was like, listen, you started smoking tree because you wanted a sleep aid, or like when I just needed to chill, like because I would be stressing about what my ex was doing or how bad I was being treated or whatever else. You know, like you lay down for bed and suddenly 100 million things come to mind that you just want to think about or stress about or anxiety about, whether it's your future, whether it's your past, whether it's your current situation, whether it's your job, like whatever. And so smoking just helped kind of calm my mind for a while until it wasn't anymore. And then I just wasn't sleeping. I was smoking more and more and more. And I kind of lost sight of the whole reason I even started smoking. I was just smoking to be smoking at that point. And then one day, just like how God changed my life and told me, you're done with that man, you're done with all of these other things, He did the same thing with tree. But I guess because I didn't want to stop smoking tree, I was like, well, okay, one day He'll tell me I can do it again. I was thinking like I just couldn't do it for the moment because I was on this journey to change my life and whatever. So I'm like, well, one day when God tells me I can smoke tree again, like I can't wait. And I started seeing more people doing it, which triggered the craving for it. Because it's not an addiction to me at all. It was easy to stop. It was easy to pick it back up. Like I don't personally, Amber Nicole does not see it as an addiction. But I'm sure anybody can turn anything into an addiction if they really wanted to. So I just stopped. One night I was smoking and I didn't just stop. So I like heard God say it, and then I was like, oh no, that wasn't God. Like God didn't say that. God don't really care about smoke tree or not. And so then he started giving me like these really creepy thoughts while after I smoked tree. And I can't even remember what the thoughts were, but it just felt scary. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It just wasn't good. Like, what do they say when you do like shrooms or something? A bad trip. Like that's what it. I'm assuming because I don't know, but that's what I take it as. Like it was just not fun anymore. Like the whole point of it was gone. But then I ignored it. I'm like, no, God didn't say that. It was just that batch. So I bought a new batch, rolled that up, and again, it was like this. I just was tripping. Like I just was not enjoying myself at all. And so one night I literally smoked and started tripping, and so I got up and I took everything tree related that I had and I just threw it in the trash. I had probably like a, not a half, I probably had like an eighth. I probably had like an eighth of tree left, and I just threw it all in the trash. I threw my grinder in the trash. I threw my tray. I threw my jar. I think I even threw some lighters in the trash. Like I was just like, all right, we're done with this. And I was done with it. And so I told everybody because I have friends who smoke tree. And I was like, nah, I'm off that. Like, it's just not a thing for me right now. And I've been changing all of this other stuff anyway, so I'm sure it wasn't like a surprise. I don't have but really one friend, well, two friends who smoke tree. And I was like, I'm off it. And this one girl who, she was saying she was off at the same time, so it was like we could relate, but me and my best friend really couldn't. So my best friend still smokes tree, and I went to my best friend's house the other day, and I already knew I was going to do the wrong thing when I left the house. Honestly, if I'm like being for real, I had already made up in my mind that I was going to smoke tree when I got to his house, because I knew that he still smoked tree, and like that was my access point to some tree, because I haven't had tree, and it had been in my face, which should have told me like, this is a test, it's coming, alert, like your test is coming. But I didn't pick up on that. So and I haven't been to my best friend's house probably since last summer. I really don't go anywhere. My grandma lives with me, so I take COVID really seriously, and I just don't really do much. So I went to my best friend's house. So I said a prayer. Oh, it's so stupid. I said a prayer before I left the house, and I was like, so God, if I smoke the tree and I don't have any bad thoughts, that means like I can smoke tree again. And God ain't say nothing, because he was like, I ain't fooling with you, girl. I guess I should have also taken him not saying anything as a hint. Wink, wink. Like, pay attention. I didn't get it. So I took God with me to the car. I played gospel music in the car like I normally do. But I think I must have left him at the door of my best friend's apartment. And when I say I took him with me, that's exactly what I mean. I took him with me. Like, you're supposed to take God everywhere you go. And some places we go, we intentionally don't take God because we know he's going to tell us not to do something. And I believe that this is one of those situations. So, yeah, I get into my best friend's apartment, and we're busting it up, listening to music, him and his girlfriend and me, and she was working actually, but I'm playing with my nephew, my puppy nephew, because that's what we do. He scratched me and gave me a bruise. And then it was like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'm starting to be like, all right, I gotta get ready to go. But I wanted to hit it like 2 times before I left. Now, the fact that it kept getting put off, them even rolling up or them even sparking the tree, should have been another sign. Like, hint, hint, wink, wink. Like, you're not supposed to be doing this. But I didn't want to hear that because I just wanted to swing it one time just to see. Like, maybe I can start doing this again. So they sparked it. I hit it like 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I'm like, all right, I gotta go. And everything was cool. Like, I didn't have bad or crazy thoughts, but it also didn't feel right. Like, it wasn't the same. And so while I'm lit off tree, I am thinking about everything, and I hear God super clear now. And he's like, Amber, why did you start smoking tree in the first place? And I'm like, well, because I was depressed and I wasn't happy and I couldn't sleep, and everything I thought of was some negative reason. And then I started having flashbacks to my abusive situation, which terrified me. And I'm like, okay, I get it. This is a part of my past. I don't need this anymore. I'm done with it. So I learned the lesson, but I'm not going to get the blessing because I didn't pass the test. But I will the next one. So that's done with. Test 1 failed. Part 2 of my test is my mom last year, as a gift, just a random gift, she bought me a year's worth of, I was about to say Gordon Ramsay. What is this man's name? David Ramsey? Dave Ramsey? Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace. And what that is like a guide to getting out of debt and being debt free and living a life of financial stewardship. Financial stewardship is where you, one, realize that money is not yours, it's God's money. You give it as God tells you to give it, to who He tells you to give it, when He tells you to give it, and you give it to Him. And you get out of debt. Did I say that already? I might have said that already. Okay, so boom. This was important, is important to me. This is important to me. But I have never really been good with money. I've never understood the necessity for having a budget. I just realized, like yesterday or maybe today, that I've never felt like I had things. So when I want to treat myself to something, that's my excuse to treat myself to something. Well, I never get to buy myself stuff anyway, which I don't, but that's not the point. Okay, so in the Bible, Matthew chapter 16 verse 24 through, I want to say 26, the Bible says, Then Jesus said to His disciples, If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross, and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. I am struggling with this. So I have given myself to God. I've said, God, listen, I want to live my life for you. And this is the one that's really got me messed up, because I feel like a failure almost. How do I deny myself? I don't know yet. I don't. Because me is very convincing, but I also know that me is wrong. Me be wrong all the time. I be wrong all the time. So I don't really know why I listen to myself at all, because I don't make good choices. I like to make spontaneous choices especially when it comes to my money. And then they usually end up either being a waste or biting me in the butt later. So anyway, I say all that to say I bought a dog. Now, right now I currently have one dog, a Shih Tzu. He's my son's. My son has had him since he was 3. And my baby's losing his hearing. We just found out this week, which is throwing me off. He's a Shih Tzu. He'll be 10 next month. My daughter has a cat. Her cat is only like 8 months. We just got him 8 months ago. Well, October, so like six months ago. I've always wanted a pet. Like, literally, I've always wanted a pet, and I've never been able to have a pet. My mom would not give me a pet growing up, and I bought my son a hamster when he was a kid. The freaking hamster was smart. He would like put his arm in the water thing. I don't know if you've ever seen a hamster cage, but it's like an empty fish tank, and he had like the water jug thing hanging off the side, but it was near the corner of the tank. So he would put his arm in the part where the latch where the water is, and use his other arm to scurry up the wall. I would move it, it didn't matter. That little thing was smart. He got out, got into like the wall behind, you know how you're behind your, you have to have access to the pipes behind your tub. So in my mom's house, he got into the wall there. Don't ask me what happened to the hamster, because it's a sad case. So it's not funny, but it's funny. So he was like my half pet, but he wasn't actually my pet. Then my son got the dog. Yes, I love my doggy very much, like so much. He's a part of my family, but he's not my dog. So I wanted a dog, and I put the deposit down on my dog. She's only 2 weeks right now, so she can't even come home yet. But it was a spontaneous choice. So, and it was like set up for me to fail. No, because God wouldn't do anything to set me up to fail. I set myself up to fail because I didn't deny myself. I said, oh, her birthday is 3/14. My birthday is 3/16. Like, I'm meant to have this dog. Like, she's supposed to be my baby. And so, me being so convincing, I was like, Amber, just get you the dog. Like, how bad could it be? Now, turns out it may be a good thing that I'm getting a dog, because my baby is going deaf. Or, well, she said he could hear a little bit, but every time I say something to him, he doesn't hear me. And she said a dog companion would help, because then he could use the dog as like his ears somehow. I don't really understand how that works, but so that was my second test. Financially, I should not be spending what I'm spending on this dog, regardless of the amount of the dog. It was not a necessity, and it wasn't something that I asked God, could I spend? Because you're supposed to do that. And I'm bad with money, so I should have just automatically went to God, like, I would like this dog, can I get it? And I actually did, but I didn't wait for the answer. And so I'm disappointed in myself, because I'm trying to make all of these strides as a Christian, and I don't want to say one step forward, 2 steps back, but it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I'm disappointed in myself because I failed the test, but I don't know. I'm going to figure it out now. So now I know that I need to be paying attention so that I can deny myself. Because both situations I needed to deny myself, because it was something that I wanted and not something that I was supposed to have. My mom think I should just forfeit this non-refundable deposit that I put on my puppy. But that doesn't make sense to me. That feels like it would be even more of a financial blunder, if you will. So I gotta pray about it, I guess. I didn't even realize I still needed to pray about that. See, this is hard, but I know it's for so much good. So I'm a failure. I'm not out here just telling y'all what to do, and I'm not making a mess or messing up, because I sure enough am. And that was the whole point. Not the whole point, but that was a part of the point of the video, to let y'all know that I'm not just out here saying you do this and I'm perfect, because I surely ain't. I'm out here messing up. I'm gonna put some pictures of my baby right here so y'all can see what she looks like. Her name is gonna be Moon, and I already put the deposit on her. Like, it just, I'm gonna pray about it. See, this is me trying to convince me again that I should just keep the puppy. But if God tells me not to keep the puppy, then I can't keep the puppy. And I will be very sad. Pray for me, y'all, because I'm struggling. This is like the hardest thing that I've gone through since rededicating my life to God, is denying myself. I didn't even think that this, something that sounds so simple, would be so hard. But I be wanting stuff. And I feel like I spent my whole life doing stuff for other people. I feel like that's the cherry on top that makes me like, this is annoying. Because I've always been doing stuff for other people. I did any and everything for my ex, these so-called friends that I had, and now I want to do for me, and I'm not even supposed to be doing for me. I'm supposed to be doing for God, which is a great thing. So I know that by denying myself, God will bless me, because he says so. He says in Luke 6:37 and 38, "Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you see, it will be measured back to you." This is just the study guide to the that book I showed y'all in the last video, I think. So the farmers on this specific day would put food at the end of their farm for people who couldn't afford food. And the people would come and they would bring, I want to say it was some kind of bag or like a sack, and they would press the food down so that they could get as much in as possible. Then they would shake it so that it would fall down and condense. And what is it? Press down, shaking together, and what was the last one? Oh, running over. So they would press it down so they could continue to stuff it as full as they could. They would shake it to make it fall down and condense, and it would be running over because they were trying to get so much food that it could last for them. So that's what that scripture actually means. It means that you will be overflowing with blessings if you do what God freaking says. And I'll be trying. I'm really trying. I'm trying so hard to deny myself, and I'm gonna get there eventually. But if you too have or are struggling with this, please let me know. Can we I was about to say, can we camaraderie, but that's not right. Can we have some camaraderie where we can relate to each other? I know I'm not alone in this. It's hard. It's hard out here for a brat. I am struggling. Like the tree thing, I can give that up easily. Like, I realize now that I was wrong, and it's not something he's saving for later, and we're just done with that, and I'm cool. But deny myself, for some reason, is just really giving me a run for my money. But I'm gonna get there. I know I will, because he ain't brought me this far to leave me home. There will, I can't sing. Alright, y'all, I'm done. This might be my shortest video yet. please comment and let me know if you struggle with this, or some advice for, like, can we make this a community? Like, give me some advice of things that you've done to help yourself deny yourself when you try to convince yourself that you need or want. I mean, it's okay to want what you want or need what you think that you need, but you don't actually need. Let me know. Let's turn the tables. I done gave y'all some of my advice for my mistakes, my hiccups, the stuff that I done wrong, because I done a lot of stuff wrong. Now I need some help, folks. What do I do? How do I deny me? Just say no. Alright, y'all, I'm out. Always remember to be a blessing and not a lesson, and help your brother or sister learn their lesson. No, you can't help them learn their lesson. Alright, I'm out.